On that note, when we back, I know it's been a while. Hey, but man, NBA draft has happened. Kings got a couple new players. Trades are about, get ready to happen. Free agency is starting next week, July 6th. So we had to come back better than ever. I go by the name of Stealth. We got Teddy Y45. We got Doughboy Bush in the house. On that note, man.
Yes,
baby,
sir.
We back, man. Hey, if this is your first time, please hit that sub button, like the video, comment, let us know what you think about the topics today, which is the NBA draft, man. And I really want to just get straight to it. I want to talk about these Kings, man, because that's our hub team, and I feel like they so far so good. Scott Perry, you know what I mean? I like the 2 picks that he made. Let's talk about how we even got into, because we didn't even have a first round pick. So Scott Perry got on the phone. He made the call with the Thunder. You know what I'm saying? We got their 24th pick, I believe it was. And I believe we traded like a 2027 pick or something like that. We didn't trade any player, but I feel like we got a really good player in Nick Clifford. You know what I'm saying? Nick Clifford, he went to Colorado State actually. And so again, he got drafted by the Thunder, but the trade, you know what I'm saying, we got the rights to the draft pick, and 6'6", 200 pounds, looks like he can run the floor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. I'm not like a draft buff or anything like that, especially when it comes to hoop, but just some of the things I'm seeing, some of the things I'm hearing, I really like. I feel like he fits. Now, I want y'all to kind of fire off, but I'm going to kind of, just kind of talk about how I feel like he could fit. And as well, second round, Maxime Reynaud from Stanford, the center, 7'1". How much you say you weigh? 250? You know what I'm saying? Cool size.
250, yeah. Yes, sir.
Stretch 5, you know what I mean? I'm excited about that pick. Teddy Y45, man, what's your thoughts, man? Sacramento Kings, Scott Perry's first moves as a GM. What are your thoughts on this?
Let Scott cook. Let the Perry man cook.
Let the Perry man cook.
You know what I mean? I like the picks so far. You know what I mean? I think these 2 young players just need to come in on this team and find the niche, find where we're weak at, which is defensively, right? And I think Neat come in, or Clifford can come in and help out defensively if he finds his niche. Definitely a spot where we've been lacking. I know he averaged, 18, 19 at Colorado State. I might have seen a game or 2 maybe on late night because they're in Colorado and they come on West Coast. Yeah. So we get those late night games.
Yeah, we do.
But, I mean, for what Scott Perry's trying to do and for what Doug Christie's trying to do, we can already see that we're trying to fill those defensive gaps. Maybe with the 42nd pick that we picked up, that can maybe help move Sabonis to the 4 and give him some mixed match advantages. You know what I mean? Get a natural 5 in there so Sabonis can do his thing at the 4. So, I mean, I like the pick. Scott Perry's definitely leaving his thumb, leaving his prints all over what he's doing already. I'm excited for the free agency. That's where we're going to get to the nitty and gritty, though.
Okay.
Ooh, that free agency.
Boy, talk to me, man. So, I feel like out of all of us, like, you're the hardest on the Kings, man. So what are your thoughts?
Gotta be.
What are your thoughts on these 2 picks?
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brake, man. Call it how I see it. And if there's some improvements that need to be made, it needs to be made. Yeah, as far as these picks go, I like what Scott Perry did for them to not have any draft picks whatsoever, I think, or only have a second round draft pick.
We got it. Hey,
to get in the first round and not to give up an actual, you know what I'm saying, big name player or any players. Yes.
Big move.
Yeah,
big move.
So it's a great move. It's a big move. And then I've been hearing a lot about Nick Clifford. He's 6'6", I think 175. He can play. He's known for his defensive pedigree. He's known to go ahead and be a defensive stopper. He's known to go ahead and be a rebounder too as well. What you gonna say, Steph?
No, what I liked about him too is the rebounds. I think he averaged close to 10 rebounds.
10.
6'6".
10. Yeah. I like that. I want to say he's like 14th in double in like rebounding. You know what I'm saying? So he's a grinder.
Yeah.
And to be a wing player, and you know what I'm saying, look how he can run the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm excited. Like, my only thing is, I said this before. I said that what do the Kings need? They needed an identity on defense.
I felt like when you went to get Neek and then me doing the research on this young man and seeing what he actually does on the defensive side of the ball and also rebound, that's something the Kings actually, did not have.
Yes.
We had Keegan there. We had Keon Ellis as our defensive, front guys. Hopefully, with Neek, he can go ahead and do the same. He can add to this and get this defense. Man, they need to keep this pushing, man. I told you I'm big on defense, man. Kings have never had no identity on defense. Yeah. And I feel like this is a start.
This is definitely a start. And I feel like that needs to be, and we talked about this before, that needs to be the focus is defense. Because when you look at OKC, if you look at the Pacers, those two teams were the two of the best defensive teams, you know what I'm saying, as well as the Cavs and Celtics and things like that. But like those two teams were like defensive minded first. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because here's my thing. I was telling somebody this. Every single team, 30 teams in the NBA, they can all score. Their scores,
right?
All these teams could put up points, but when you look at the stats, you know what I'm saying? Like we really get deep into the stats and like the lower teams versus the higher. There's no good defensive team down low. Like as far as like when you look at the records, all the good defensive teams are up, higher in the ranking. So you got to buy into defense. And one of the things too that I liked is, again, we talked about the rebounding from Neek Clifford. I'm hoping he could bring some of that. Maxime Renaud, I like the fact that he's a stretch 5. Now he could spread the floor a little bit because I feel like, all right, let me back up a little bit. Kings, y'all had to play these two dudes. Don't just send them to Stockton, you know what I'm saying, to go down there and get their reps. These two dudes, I feel like the Kings are not in position to, y'all can't afford to send these guys. You got to play them.
You got to play them, right?
You had to play these guys because the dynamics between and the energy between the fans and front office and things like that, they're like, okay, they want to see what's next. What are you guys working towards? If you just send these two dudes to Stockton just to play on two ways or whatever, it's kind of like because we need to see new blood. We need to see who can start replacing some of these other guys that we know are going to be moving on in the next season or two, or maybe this coming season. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I want to see both of them play. No, go ahead. I want to see both of them play. You know what I'm saying?
I want to piggyback off what you said because I think that was one of Scott Perry's and Doug's ideas going into this draft is, especially when moving up into the first round. If we're moving up into the first round, we have to get damn near a player that's ready to go today. If the season started today. So I want to say with that first pick that they did pick up, even both guys, I felt like they got two guys that can come in if the season started today. They would be on the roster today playing.
Yeah. I hope they play these guys, man.
What I've been reading and doing my research on X and formerly Twitter and reading some of these articles is that Neek Clifford was actually a sneaky pick that everybody said that you need to watch out for. You need to go ahead and look out for it. This is a good pick. Some people felt like he shouldn't have dropped that low in the draft. He should have been a higher pick is what I've been reading and kind of hearing too as well. But when you come in, man, and it seems like every year, because he started off at Colorado at first and spent 2 years or 3 years there, and then he ended up going to Colorado State for his last two, or his last one, should I say, I think. When you go ahead and go from 3.9 rebounds, or 2.9, sorry, to 6.6, then 8.1 by the time you get ready to leave. And this is defensive rebounds. It's not on opposite side. This is defensive rebounds we're talking about. Something that the Kings have always lacked. I think that they might have found something that can go ahead and help them out with trying to go ahead and be a defensive stout team. Because as we can tell,
for sure.
Yes. And like we've seen beforehand, when you look at like the Thunder, for instance, who just won the NBA title, they're built on defense and they're young. So I feel like Scott Perry is kind of like, all right, what can I go ahead and do to get better and still stay young and still be able to have some of these veterans kind of help out?
Yeah.
Now with Maxime
Renaud?
Yeah, Maxime, a 7'1", 260 body frame. I know, Steph, you said it before we start to go ahead and record. He kind of reminds you or puts you in the mold of a Chet Holmgren or something like that. I feel like this might have been a great addition. He's bigger than Chet, yeah. And so I felt like this was a great addition. I felt like if he can go ahead and come in there and contribute right away. And then also what this helps out with is that you can actually slide your players down now. You can go ahead and if he can get in there,
bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, all right, let me ask you this, right? So if we do bring up Maxime and he's able to play with the varsity, do you feel like are we re-signing or so Valanciunas, is he a free agent or
he's still on the team.
Signed?
He's still signed. Yeah, I think he has another 2 years on his deal.
We're going to keep him or use him as a trade
piece?
Yes.
No, that's a good quality backup center.
With somebody though, like a team that can use a center.
I always felt like the Sacramento Kings have always lacked a backup true center behind Sabonis. Sabonis is not an actual.
You and I, we always talked about that.
So we always talk about that, right? We always talk about that. So I felt like when they got Valanciunas in that trade, right, it helped them out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, okay, we got Valanciunas. We got an actual big man that can come in and contribute somewhat of what you need. Yeah. Not to be a whole bunch of points, but hey, get us some defensive rebounds, get us some blocks. Get us a few assists here and there. You know what I mean? And I felt like we've always lacked that. So definitely keep him. And if Maxime can go ahead and actually be a reliable serviceable center, keep him at the 5. Move Sabonis to his natural position at the 4. Then you slide Keegan down to his natural position at the 3. Mm-hmm. And then you plug in your shooting guard from there and your point guard after that.
Honestly, I think things will start clicking if you were able to do that. If you can make that happen. Yes. Get these guys in their natural positions. I want Keegan to play the 3 so bad because Keegan is I think he's more effective when he's guarding. I don't know if people realize how good of a defender he is. I remember the year after his rookie year, him and De'Aaron Fox worked out that whole summer and he was guarding De'Aaron Fox, you know what I'm saying, one-on-one. So a lot of times he would get the assignment, like when we play the Warriors, he'll guard Curry and stuff like that. So he's more so like, you want him to be able to guard those smaller players and those dynamic scorers because that's where he shines at. He's not really gonna, you know what I'm saying? He's not. You're not gonna get the most out of Keegan if he's guarding the 4s and the bigs and things like that. So find a way to make him or get him down to play his natural wing 3 position, and hopefully we can get somebody else in there. Let's talk about what else we're hearing about. We're hearing DeRozan is probably on the move. That's like the first name that's kind of jumping out as far as being the first guy, the first domino to fall from our roster. I've been hearing like Monk too. I don't like that though. I've been hearing Monk. I just saw today that Sabonis is not going nowhere. I saw that report, but again, we're in the season of just a whole bunch of just news and just BS is just kind of flying around. You really don't know what's factual yet. But what do y'all think about the roster moves? So I like the 2 draft picks, but what do y'all think about trades now? How do y'all want this roster to look? Teddy White profile, like what do you think as far as trades and whatnot?
I mean, I want the team honestly to look. I want to look different. You know what I mean? I want to. If we have to start over a little bit, right? Because right now I think he's trying to work on finding out what do I have, the foundation, and I'm also trying to get depth all at the same time, right? Talent, depth, and talent at this point, and people that can mesh together. So I know analytics say certain people already on the team don't mesh well together as far as for the win category. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to free agency next week. Really, I don't know what to expect, but I do expect some moves to be made. Okay, you know what I mean. No one would be shocked if I woke up next week and this person was moved. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, you know. Whatever moves are made.
Is there any names that you just be like, okay,
setting it up?
Like, is there any names on the current roster to where you feel like, all right, they really don't fit. They got to go. I know I got one. You already know and I don't hate him as a player, but I just feel like he's not conducive to the new NBA. Getting up and down the floor, running, playing fast. DeMar DeRozan is an ISO player. He likes to, post up and do his old, you know what I'm saying? Nah, we're not doing that no more, man. Bruh, again, I keep going back to the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? The reason they got so far to the NBA Finals to Game 7 is because of their pace. Running, you know what I'm saying? Playing fast. And that's hard to guard. Like, I'm sitting there watching the Finals. It is. Bruh, that's really difficult to guard. And I know, like,
especially the 4 quarters.
Y'all know I didn't really buy the Pacers as being a good team, but I feel like it was more for them. It was scheme over team. That's how they got it. It was scheme over team for them. Like, they weren't the most talented, you know what I'm saying, like that, or by no means. But the way they played in their scheme, I would love for the Kings to adapt that. You know what I'm saying, that style of play, playing fast. Now, somebody who is conducive to that style that we've been hearing about. that is garnering some interest by the Kings is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, man. What's your thoughts on that? I want to hear what both of y'all think about that because I'm kind of torn between. I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. What's your thoughts on that? It's a dope boy. Let me know what you think.
Well, for me, I'm gonna say this.
My man frozen?
Like Teddy said, I wouldn't be surprised.
Is Teddy frozen?
If he might be. I wouldn't be surprised if some cats get traded. I would not be surprised. Kind of like what Teddy said, man. You know, if Sabonis gets moved, I wouldn't be surprised. I know you said that there's reports saying they're going to go ahead and hold on to him. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if Malik Monk is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if they possibly try to trade Keon Ellis. I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and let Monk go as well. So I won't be shocked if some of these players get moved. It's going to be like, okay, what can Scott Perry get for these players to kind of have some cohesiveness with the other guys that you're trying to go ahead and build around?
Yeah.
Now, the Russell Westbrook situation, as far as him, getting some interest or, some steam from the Kings really don't have a true point guard right now. Mm-hmm. And I know Russ is beyond his years of actually being a, all-star, Hall of Fame basketball player that he once was beforehand. If you can go ahead and get him in there and kind of buy into what, you guys are trying to go ahead and do, so be it. See what you go ahead and do. Mm-hmm. But my thing is that how is that relationship going to go ahead and work? And how is the chemistry going to go ahead and work with, say, a Monk and a Russell Westbrook on the floor together?
Right.
How would that look? How's that going to go ahead and work out?
Yeah. But the good thing about that, the good thing about that, I see your reservations about that. I get it. But the good thing about Monk is he can shoot. Russell can't really shoot.
Yeah, he can.
So they could spread the floor a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they're running in transition, Monk could go run to the corner. And now you got to account for Russ going to the rack for a layup because he can still do that and still be aggressive around the basket. Or do you have to guard Monk in the corner? So I do see what you're kind of saying with that because they have similar tendencies to be a little erratic at times, both of them.
Erratic,
but
definitely.
I feel like if you're able to contain that and bring it down a notch to where like it's controlled chaos, if you're Doug Christie,
yes,
I wouldn't be mad at Russ being a bridge point guard for now. But he's not a good shooter. We know that. But we know he's going to play hard. We know he's going to have, he's going to play with heart. We know he has leadership. Mm-hmm. The crowd is going to absolutely love him, you know what I'm saying, because of his effort. We do know that, but, just sometimes, like I said, just control chaos. If you're able to do that, I mean, I think he played well for Denver last year.
No, he actually did play. He played a lot better.
Yeah.
Then I thought that he was going to go ahead and play in Denver, which is a good thing, especially considering, what we've known Russ to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With that being said, I can see him being the bridge the gap, possibly. I know there was some articles that were out there possibly talking about bringing in Dennis Schroeder to possibly go ahead and play. I don't know how that's going to go ahead and look.
I've been seeing the Tyus Jones.
Jones, yeah, I've been seeing that too as well.
Let's talk about him for a little bit. He's not terrible. I do think he's a little undersized, and I'm not sure about his defense. I've seen him knock down that three. And again, I think right now, what I'm kind of seeing when you hear about these names like Tyus Jones and Russell Westbrook, you're kind of looking at bridge point guards. And what I mean by that is you're looking for somebody just to kind of bridge the gap between your next real point guard. Maybe they feel like they can't get that person right now. Tyus Jones, he's been in the league a while. I didn't realize how long he's been in the league. I remember him in college.
He's been in the league for a while. He's a veteran. Yeah, he's a vet.
He's 29.
Yeah.
So he's a vet. He's older. And we back in? Are we back in? We back in? All right, there we go. So yeah, we're talking about Tyus Jones right now. We're talking about Westbrook. Okay, so let's go back to Westbrook. 4-5, I want to know what are your thoughts about Westbrook possibly signing with the Kings? We were just kind of saying how the erratic play sometimes, not really being able to knock down that three ball, and we're talking about chemistry with the Kings. So how do you? But at the same time, would he be a good bridge point guard until we get that next solidified? Okay, this is our point guard for the next 10 years. Do you think he's a good bridge to that, or would you rather look at somebody else like a Tyus Jones, or try to make a trade for somebody else. I heard Schroeder. I think
I said make a trade.
Schroeder's name was out there. So what are your thoughts on
Schroeder's
that?
name's out there, yeah.
I would like a Schroeder. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I can't even lie, fellas. I really would like a Westbrook on the team. Depending on what else we have around him, though. I think right now.
Well, Keegan can shoot. Monk can shoot. Apparently, the new center can shoot. Right? Who else can shoot? Keon Ellis can shoot. We've seen him knock down threes.
It's not necessarily. My thing is, it's not necessarily who can shoot.
No,
it's more
but I'm making it about that because he can't shoot. Right? But the good thing about him is
he can't shoot at all.
Get to that rack and score on the basket. So if you had to account for him in transition, like, oh, now you got to guard. Like, who you guarding? Because if you just leave him open and get straight to the get a bucket, now you got shooters leaking out in the corner, wings. So now you have to worry about that. So in transition, I feel like if you surround him with shooters, that's where he would be dangerous. You can make Russell Westbrook dangerous in that scenario.
That's fair. My thing is this, right? The reason Westbrook was successful in the Clippers and the Denver organization was because of the surrounding pieces, not necessarily the shooting.
No, it was a role.
It's the respect of having a Jokic on the floor, a Kawhi, a Harden.
But you know what it is?
And my thing is,
I think here's what it is for me. The reason
we don't necessarily have that type of personnel to reel him in when he is erratic.
See,
yes, and that's what I was saying.
When you were out for a second, that's what me and him were talking about. Me and Doughboy were talking about Doug Christie. Can you kind of like tone down the erraticism? Can you like control chaos is what I call it. Can you control the chaos? But again, going back to why I keep mentioning shooters is because I feel like we need to play fast. And to play fast is, again, going back to Pacers. I keep talking about these guys, but the way they played was transition. We're leaking out. We're in the corners. So now it's like, all right, pass, boom. Oh, you got to run out here. Oh, we got to run. And everybody was just open because it's so hard to guard in that space. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you have Russ to where he can initiate that and just run and go, that's where you kind of like create your offense and form your offense around the shooting and around his athleticism and his ability to get to the basket. So I guess what I'm saying is I feel like if you do get him, that's how you should play. I feel like that should be the half court offense. No, I don't want Russ. But
not at all.
If we're talking about pace and space, shooting, I like it.
Is Russell Westbrook, let's say, top two of your choices right now at that position?
No. For me,
that's enough said.
Yeah. For me, I would look to go ahead and try to trade first, and I would leave the Ty situation alone. I would try to look for a trade first. Look for a trade, see what's out there, see what you might go ahead and be able to reel in, because the Kings really do lack a true point guard, and they need to figure out how to get creative to get that point guard into this organization. I thought they were going to go ahead and do it in the draft when they were talking about trading into the first round. Okay, well, maybe they might go get him a point guard, with that pick. It didn't happen. I'm not mad at the Neek pick right now, because it does like it's going to be something that's going to go ahead and benefit the Kings and what we've been saying since we started this podcast as far as, being a defensive stopping team, which they've lacked beforehand. So for me, I would say they got to figure out a trade first. Try to get creative with the trade, see what you go ahead and go. And I don't know if it's going to be a part of the DeRozan trade, because like I said, at this point in his stage in his career, with him being 36 or 35, being a veteran, being an ISO player, you're pretty much not gonna get a lot for him anymore at this point. And no disrespect towards him, he's just older. So I don't know what you're gonna be able to get for him at this point in his career. Now, is that where the Malik Monk situation comes into play? Do we trade Monk to go ahead and get a point guard in there? And that's the reason why are we hearing these rumors of him being out there?
Up DeRozan and Monk, I would.
That's the only thing.
Depending on who
I'm with you.
If you can give me a Giddey or like a Ball. Or dare I say even Trae Young? I mean, I'm not big on Trae because he's little and don't play no defense. But he can score. He averages 11 assists a night. So
yeah, crazy.
I mean, I would maybe, for sure. To me, DeRozan, but it's like, who do you package up with him? And if you could package up a couple players, maybe like a second round pick in a couple years, and maybe you can get a point guard. But
Yeah, you go like a DeRozan.
I don't know what type of a point guard you're gonna go ahead and get in that sense if you just package up DeRozan by itself and some draft picks.
I'm saying like with Monk and like a pick or something. Like,
if you go out to Westbrook,
as crazy it may sound, man, it might be a Devin Carter that might have to be put into a package like that. To be honest, yeah. As crazy it may sound, it might have to be something like Devin Carter.
I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, man, did we just give this guy a shot? You know, he was a first round draft pick. He was a lottery pick last year.
He was a lottery pick. So it's like if he's a lottery pick, you got to go ahead and let this man play.
He played well in college. You know what I'm saying? Do we just give him a shot? Do you just
I feel like yes. In this season, he's a lottery pick.
You know what's crazy?
I feel like
at this point, what do you got to lose?
Because he was hurt.
He was hurt. What do you got to lose?
He was hurt. So.
Like, what do you got to lose? I mean, I feel like at this point it depends on what you're trying to do if you're the Kings. Are you trying to win now, or are you just trying to see what you have for the future, like in the next season or two? Like, because if you look at OKC and how they did it over the years, it's like, okay, you traded for bruh, Shea, you know, do you draft
patience,
Jalen Williams, you know, you draft Dort, you know, and they had Giddey. Or you trade him, you know, to bring in Caruso, a veteran. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of saw how they did it. So are we in that mode, just kind of like getting pieces and then putting it together, or are we still trying to like salvage something to where it's like, okay, we feel like we can compete? Like, what do you do?
No, I think Scott Perry.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Scott Perry's in there trying to get some new blood in there, like 4-5 said earlier. I think that with this team, he's probably seen and watched film, and it's probably like, yeah, I can't see this team being together like this another year. You know, so let me figure out who I can go ahead and get rid of.
I'm telling y'all, man, DeRozan, those two players were a big reason of why it looks like that. Like, to the eye test, it looked like that because you had a guy out there who didn't want to be there. And you had another guy who was just ISO Joe. Like, he just wanted to be ISO. He didn't play. Like, he slowed the offense down. And that also hindered Keegan Murray, you know what I'm saying, from getting shots and being able to work how we know he can and probably should have been working within that offense. So I feel like that's why it looked like that.
Let's say this.
That's why it looked like that.
Last, right?
Oh, so can you hear him? Double, can you hear? Can you hear her?
Nah, he's out a little bit.
You hear me?
No, cannot. You sound low.
He was just cool what you was doing before, and I don't know what happened. But
yeah, go ahead. Go boy.
There you go.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Are you good?
Y'all can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying was, to us, the casual fan, right? Mm-hmm. The living room GMs that we are, you know, we do it all day. when we look at this team on paper, it goes, man, we move this piece and move it with this piece. Man, we might have something. Mm-hmm. But when Scott Perry and BJ Armstrong look at this roster, right? When I seen that BJ Armstrong clip a couple months ago, when NBA people look at this roster, they go, what the hell are they doing?
They don't know what's going on. It's all over the place.
It's
all over the place.
Yes, you guys got certain names and pieces that it look good, but when I seen BJ's natural reaction, it was like, what are they doing out there? Like, how are they meshing this guy and this guy and this guy? You guys are just diabolical out there right now.
Yeah, I agree. So, it was definitely just, it felt like they were going to a yard sale and just picking up hella rubbish that just did not work.
It's a lot worse. It's a lot worse.
They're getting but here's the thing, right?
It's a lot worse than what
here's my thing. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what y'all are saying. I agree. But y'all know me, I'm a why person. Okay, like, we could sit here and say, all right, that burger is trash, but I'm gonna tell you why it's trash, right? It was overcooked, it was dry, there was no mustard on it,
right?
The bun was burnt. So y'all are what you guys are saying is factual, but I'm telling y'all why. I'm telling y'all it's because of DeRozan. He's the one who didn't fit.
Well, of course.
And that's why it looked like that. And I feel like if you remove him, it would look different, because then you have guys hold on. Then you have guys who are more what's the word I'm looking for? You would have guys
it's
that are more
just organic. It's just playing.
You have guys more inclined to play more freely, to play offense that's moving, setting picks, down screens, running in transition. They did not do that at all last year. It was just half court. It was all half court.
Yeah, well, you got also.
We were killing the whole 24 seconds of the possession. We weren't playing fast at all.
Also, we have to take into accountability as well as that there was no true point guard once De'Aaron Fox
once he left. But then when he was here, we had a guy. Again, here's another reason. When he was here, we had a guy who didn't want to be here. So it was just the season was just done from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel like we can't even judge this team based on what we saw last year because it was too many other variables that made it look like that. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like, you had a point guard, your star point guard who didn't want to be here. You had DeRozan who didn't fit. That just wasn't a good signing. So if you get rid of him, bring in another point guard, it might look a little different. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the thing about it is kind of like what you were saying as far as, you're giving the reason why. I felt like, okay, when you did have DeRozan here and you did have Fox, then Fox left, right? You traded for Levine. That didn't work in Chicago. Why'd you panic and go get Levine to bring him into Sacramento to have the same type of stagnant offense they had in Chicago here in Sacramento?
He's better than bruh.
He is, but I felt like if you were looking at the landscape of that, you had to know, hey, look here. I already seen what Chicago did with Levine and DeRozan. It did not work in Chicago. We already have DeRozan on our team currently right now. Now we're talking about bringing his ex-teammate back onto our team, which is already at a slow pace because we're going through the post of DeRozan going down the post. You know what I mean? The ISO player, now it's taking away the flow of the offense. Then you got Levine.
And here's another thing I know nobody's done because people just don't do this. And I've been saying, I've been screaming this for so long, and I need y'all to follow me on this real quick. You might got to give me a minute or two to like really go through this, but. The Kings won 40 games, right?
Yeah.
And I watched pretty much out of 82 games, I probably watched about 75 of them. So when I kept saying this over and over and over again, I knew what I was talking about. I kept saying they probably should have won about 10 more games than they won.
Yeah, you did.
I've been saying that, right?
Yeah, you did.
10 more games is 50 games. Now, again, is that first place in first? No. But if you win 50 games, you're being looked at as a pretty decent team. I think we all can agree there, right?
Right.
Follow me what I'm saying. Game 1, you lost. I remember that game too. 117-115 to Minnesota, right? You lost by 2 points. You lost to the Lakers. Hold on. You lost to the Lakers the next game by 4 points. You lost in Toronto in overtime by 2 points. Hold on. It continues. It keeps going. You lost to Minnesota in overtime by 4 points. You lost to Atlanta by 1 point. Hold on. Hold on. You lost to San Antonio by 2 points. You lost to Denver by 1 point. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, defense. That's 6 games right there. I mean, and I didn't even go through all the losses yet. Detroit, 1 point, 114-113. You know what I'm saying? Like all these losses are close games. And I'm like, a lot of it comes down to just buying into defense. And again, I know that everybody wants to panic, blow it up. But when I look at these scores, to me, these scores don't say blow up because if you just add up and you win some of these games you lost, you probably should have won about 50 games. You probably should have won about 50. Look, another loss, 111, 110. Like all these 1 point, 2 point, 3 point losses, this is just locking in and binding into playing defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe you got to get some defensive-minded guys on the team. Maybe 111, 109, Pacers. Like, you're losing all these close games, and it's just like, if you just make those little corrections, to me, that's why I kept saying it's not broken because I was watching the games. It's not broken, but it just needs retooling. Again, I just feel like buying into defense. Does DeMar play defense? I can't even remember. Let's talk about that. Does he even play defense? I don't feel like he fits offensively, but even on D, does he?
He's not a bad defender. He's not a bad defender. He's not a bad defender. No,
but
he does play defense. But he's not a bad defender.
Okay.
He's not a great defender neither at this stage in his career. But he does play defense.
Yeah, I mean,
So
okay, go ahead.
My thing is like this. they've ran with this team before DeRozan got there for the last 3 years. Got to almost pushing Golden State Warriors on the brink of elimination, right?
They were third in the West that year.
Right. So you go from that to a dismal season the next season. Then you go to another season, which you're damn near running with the same players. The only person that you're substituting out now is.
But see that next
you got
year,
players, and you brought DeRozan in.
See, that's the thing. The next year, the following year, after the 50 win season, you still had Harrison Barnes, who didn't give you nothing. So that's why they got DeRozan. They're like, okay, well, shit, he's gonna be better than Harrison. But then when you get DeMar, he just don't fit, and it's just like. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get production out of that position, and then in return, you kind of get somebody who just doesn't really fit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's just, and again, you know, it may sound like I'm a reason. Why did something happen? I don't just look at the result. Why did it happen? I'm telling you, this is why it happened. You know what I'm saying? Harrison that first year, you didn't get nothing. You get DeRozan thinking, okay,
of course.
I was in that mindset. Like, okay, DeRozan is replacing Harrison. We should be better. But chemistry, right? So it's
I said with DeRozan, it was going to stop the offensive flow. The Kings were known for fast pace when they had Harrison Barnes on that squad. When it was Fox, Harrison Barnes,
it was faster.
Keegan his first year, Sabonis, they were a lot faster.
It was faster.
So then you get away from that. You add DeRozan, you know, you go into more of a half court offense, ISO type situation to where the ball is not moving at all. It's going to create some issues.
Yeah.
You know, it's where now at this point is where's the identity at on offense? You didn't have no defense. You didn't have no identity on defense. Now all of a sudden you don't have identity on offense.
4-5. What's the identity? What do you feel like needs to be the identity? Pace and space? What do you think?
Yeah.
Offensively?
Pace and space?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to that.
It's kind of hard really right now to kind of say because I don't know the personnel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to even, like you were saying earlier, it's hard to even get a feel on personnel when you don't have a leader who's at the point guard position. Definitely. So usually your identity does come from your either point guard position or your center position. Most of the times, it's going to be the point guard. You know what I mean? So, man, till we get that figured out,
yeah.
We making tacos with hot dog buns.
I'm trying to picture that. Wait a minute. Tacos with
tacos with hot dog. He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
He never did that before.
Hey, and it's funny. I've heard of that before. That's the reason why I'm laughing because it's true. Like, what can you do at this point?
Yeah. So
you got a whole bunch of different things in your cabinet, but it's like how are you gonna cook a good dish?
I don't even know if your permanent solution is even out there this summer. I don't unless you could trade for like a Melo Ball, a Trae Young, a Giddey. That's about it. Unless you can get somebody like that, like it's gonna be a bridge point guard.
So Garland, you wouldn't try to go get Garland out in Cleveland to bring him in? You don't feel like he's a suitable point guard at this point?
What you think,
45?
Garland.
Yeah,
Garland?
I mean, I like Garland, depending on what you know what I'm saying. I wish we could just get a veteran in there, right? It doesn't necessarily have to move the ball up and down because you have Monk that can come off the bench to provide that.
CP3,
I feel like what you doing, man?
CP3, what you doing? CP3, what you doing right now? What you got? You trying to play another year? Like,
a great place to come.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think CP right now he's still currently on the he's still on the roster for the Spurs, and I wouldn't mind. No, he's still there. He's there. I think he had one more. I thought he had one more year. I thought that this would be a possibility with him now possibly leaving because they had ended up getting Harper.
I believe he's free agent.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's kind of switch gears. Why do you think the Spurs went guard?
Stupid. That was stupid.
What y'all thought? I mean,
and
I heard
an
article that says something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, you know, the Spurs, had they known Dylan Harper would have fell in their lap, they wouldn't have traded for De'Aaron Fox.
Bingo.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So,
bingo.
But you still end up trading for him though. I get it.
I ain't gonna lie. You know what I would do if I was the Spurs?
Go ahead.
Because I've been hearing that they were interested in this player. They were interested in Giannis. you might could get a little package with De'Aaron Fox being the main guy in that package and getting a Giannis back and having this.
Don't the Spurs have some picks?
Like,
don't they have some more pick? Don't they have some more first round picks?
They might, but they got some players too. You could do like a Sochan, Fox, maybe like a Devin Vassell. So 2 first round pick, like you might could do something like that. Like
I ain't gonna lie, I felt like it just didn't make sense when I seen that name being called, and no disrespect towards Harper because Harper is a hooper. I just thought I would have thought that they would have tried to go ahead and get them a 4 or a wing 3. And I thought Ace Bailey would have been perfect. With Ace Bailey being there, I thought okay, you package Ace up with Wemby if and whenever he comes back. Then you got Fox and Castle. That's a good little starter pack, bro. You got two big players, you know what I'm saying, that have wingspans on them. And then you got 2 legitimate, point guard and shooting guard that can go ahead and help your team out to be still somewhat competitive. I felt like so. It's just like I don't know why they did that. And
what's your thoughts on that, 4-5?
I won't be shocked.
I'm Ace Bailey fan too, but Harper was like.
He was there.
I mean, look at his pedigree. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but my thing is those things.
One of the best ones available.
Hey, so when you do something like that, Teddy, what do you do though? Like, you can't have him sit on the bench. So I mean, who's gonna be the man out?
You better not put that ball.
Castle ain't no point guard.
He's not no 3 either. Castle's he's too small to be. Like,
too small.
Yeah.
Right. So how are you gonna get creative with this roster? Popovich is no longer there, so let's just go ahead and put that out there first and foremost. So you got a brand new coach that's in there. So how are you gonna get creative with this roster, and how are you gonna keep a second overall pick, should I say, on the bench and not be in your starting 5?
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like when you look at Fox and Harper, they're both the type of guards that need the ball in their hands.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Fox could probably play more off ball because he's a pro. He's been in the league. He kind of knows how it goes. So maybe they kind of plan on him being like the more off guard.
So what, you gonna play small ball?
I don't know what they're. See, we talking about plans and direction. I don't know. That was kind of weird to me.
Spurs got something up their sleeve, man. You don't do a move like that.
Yeah, you know what? And to be real with you, Teddy, it might be Fox being on that.
That's what I said.
That block.
If you could dangle him to Milwaukee. Right, you don't got Dame. You're probably gonna get rid of him when he comes back. He's out for the whole next season. Achilles. You know what I mean? Bring in De'Aaron Fox. Get Giannis over there. And that's what I'm saying. San Antonio has pieces to put a package together.
Yeah.
Giannis, Wemby, Castle, Harper,
and also too as well. There will be some other takers out there for Fox. So this won't be the only Detroit. Do they need a point guard?
No, Cunningham.
Oh, Cunningham's their PG. I thought he was a 2 guard over there. Okay. So I mean, who else needs a PG right now?
Orlando.
Yeah. So I mean, Fox can go some places to where some teams are gonna be like, "Hey, look, we need him." We just gotta look at you gotta look at the landscape of what teams are out there that needs an actual point guard.
Yeah.
If healthy, Fox is a top 5 point guard. They're gonna make space for him.
I know the Lakers do. So the Lakers need a point guard.
It'll be interesting. I was surprised the Lakers didn't. I thought he was going to be, or they were going to be one of the teams that he was going to, demand to go to after he left the Kings. I'm like, hey, I'll take a Lakers trade because Lakers had, like Austin Reeves at the time, and you know what I'm saying. But they got Luka, so
they have some pieces that you can go ahead and get back in return for sure.
I don't know. Maybe they plan on keeping both, and we'll see how it works. I don't know. That's going to be interesting though. But with that whole,
the only thing I think of is small ball. If they do keep this team the way it is right now, it's going to be small ball. I feel like
it has to be. Or you're going to have Harper come off the bench,
bro. And I just don't see
Fox
you having a number 2. But I'm saying you're not going to have a number 2 overall pick come up off your bench,
That's
bro.
What I'm saying.
Hey man, we might have to go check.
You're not going
to Vegas Summer League. I
don't think it's coming here no more.
It's in Vegas. The big one.
They're not doing the Sac Classic no more, I don't think, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they're just doing Vegas, I thought.
June 10th.
Hey, you sound low again.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm gonna be curious. I'm gonna be curious to see what's gonna take place.
All right, just real quick, just a couple of little fire off, just little quick takes. Jonathan Kuminga has been rumored to be on the Kings' radar. What do you think about him if he was to join the roster?
Overrated. Don't do it.
You said don't? Why not?
Overrated. Don't. He's overrated, bro. Just leave it alone.
I mean,
at this point, you already had Neek. You got Neek. You have Keegan.
But
then you got Keon, and you
then you kind of need a wing off the bench.
I mean, is Kuminga willing to come up off the bench?
No,
because that's the reason why he was having his issues in Golden State. You went from starting,
so he's gonna have to go to a young team that's not really established if he wants to start.
If he wants to start,
he's got to go to like a Wizards. So like I'm talking like Pelicans. Like you got to go somewhere like that.
Yes,
like.
Yeah, I don't see it coming to Sacramento just because of the fact of what Sacramento already went ahead and drafted and what they currently have, unless they move off of more than one piece. If it's a Keon Ellis or if it's a Monk or if it's DeRozan, we already know is going to go ahead and be packaged up somewhere. We just don't know what he's going to get for.
Yeah, Kuminga, I believe if he's going to be anywhere, it's going to be more in Miami. You know what I mean? I think that's more of a spin-off for. Well, I
don't know if you heard the rumors.
I mean, being at the LA KD, I think their options are DeRozan and Kuminga. So if DeRozan go there, then we'll probably end up bringing in Kuminga.
In that trade.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I like it.
How would you feel about Andrew Wiggins coming over in that trade from DeRozan?
With DeRozan?
If Wiggins came here to sack.
Yeah, better.
DeRozan, because he talking about DeRozan.
Yeah,
he's rumored.
Just a swap, just player for player.
Like a package,
nothing else.
Sure, but he'd be like probably the main piece from over there to come here. This dope boy don't like nobody.
Nah, don't say that. I mean,
you don't like nobody.
I'm just thinking about the chemistry factor and the continuity of this team and how they're going to go ahead and get this together. I don't know.
Without a guard, I can't picture.
Yeah, let's say it's just we don't. There's no point guard right now.
But like I said, I don't think that guy is coming this year, this offseason. Unless you
it's not. I don't think the only way it comes this year, bro. If Scott Perry is just super
aggressive,
creative. Yes, and aggressive and creative in the trade market, and pulls off a Houdini, then I'll be like, all right, cool.
You know how I wouldn't mind off the bench?
Let's go ahead and go.
You know how I wouldn't mind off the bench as a point guard, defensive-minded champion? Gary Payton II.
I've been talking about that. I've been said that. I've been said I wouldn't mind him coming up off the bench to play that point guard. He plays defense.
Oh, Chris Paul
like
is
he has chemistry pedigree,
by the way, too. Chris Paul is. He's not
he is. Yep. Okay.
So
come on, Paul.
Get 25, 30 games out of him.
Oh, there's another quick take
Paul. Come on, Sacramento, man.
About Kuminga. Did we have any other trades that there was like something? Oh, Durant. What y'all think of Durant with the Rockets?
I mean, I love it. I mean, I like it, but god damn, can you imagine Jordan playing for 9 teams?
I know, that's crazy.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what's crazy?
I was thinking about that too as well.
I was too. It was crazy. The other day I was like, damn. I was gonna
ask you on the chat. I was gonna ask you on the chat.
Like, God, like
yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
I was like, bruh.
That's a lot of well, you know what, in this day and age, man, in basketball, a lot of these superstar players they're bouncing around. I feel like
not you can't look at that much though.
I mean,
this like, bruh, 15. No, is it 4th or 5th? OKC, Warriors, Brooklyn, Phoenix, Houston. 5 teams.
Houston. I mean, okay. LeBron's right there.
Nah,
Kyrie's right there.
No, LeBron's not, because you're thinking about when he went back to Cleveland. So that was one team.
But what you still left though, bro.
No. But we're talking about teams at this point. We're talking about just
you still left.
No, me and 4-5 talking about teams.
You still left.
No, we're not talking about leaving. We're talking about the amount of teams, the franchises that you play for. That's a lot for Kevin Durant's 5 teams.
That's a lot for somebody who's
of that caliber.
Of his pedigree.
Top 20 all time. Like, and these are by decision.
Yeah.
Do you like the roster? Do you feel like they're contenders now?
Hold on, man. You know how many times Jordan and Pippen didn't like each other? Pippen and Jordan never woke up on a Tuesday and said, you know, I don't like him this so much.
Hey, you know, speaking of, like, I don't know how true it is. Somebody had asked Scottie Pippen. He said they never went out to dinner together, ever. He said he's never had a meal with Michael Jordan. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't believe. I think that's for clickbait.
I don't know if I believe
you guys
that.
play. You guys been boys for. I don't know how when the friendship dynamic changed, but they were boys for so goddamn long. You mean to tell me, Pippen, bro, through all them 8, 9 years, 10 years that you played with this man, bro, you mean to tell me you have not went to dinner with this man not one time?
You know what that nigga? Excuse me, you two. You know what he sound like? He sound like the broad that goes, "You done humped on me 20 times, but you ain't never took me out in public." Come on, man. Come on, Scotty. We'll go outside, baby.
Never take me out, Take me out. Wine and dine me, You just keep me in the house. I'm just cooking, cleaning, doing all your dirty work. I'm doing your laundry.
That is funny. That's a good point to put it. That's a good way to put it.
The audio dropped out.
Hey, so I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the move of him going to the Rockets.
I'm not mad at it. It just seems a little like, damn, like you're 15, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I like it for the Rockets. I like it for the Rockets. I do.
I seen the odds of them, and I forgot what it was when they started to show the odds on some of these sports channels of what the Rockets odds were to go ahead and make the finals. I'm not believing it. I'm not taking it, and I don't think they're going to go ahead and make it.
Every time Katie goes somewhere,
you don't like the odds?
I don't think they're going to go ahead and make it to the finals. No,
I'm just being let down. Like, no money on Team KD going to if it ain't the Warriors.
Bruh, the only team I think he actually succeeded at was the Warriors, and then when he did get to their prior to that was with the Thunder, and he couldn't close out then. I don't see it happening, bro. I just don't see it happening.
All right, last quick take, real quick. I want y'all opinions on this, right? Looking at the Eastern Conference, bro, like
just
Halliburton Achilles popped, Tatum Achilles popped, Dame Lillard Achilles popped. Those are 3 teams that we probably looked at like, okay, Bucks. So, Celtics blow up. That's a blow up. You got rid of
that is a blow up,
bro. Somebody said today they mentioned their starting lineup. They said starting lineup of Anthony Simons, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Luke Cornett, and like somebody. I'm like, damn, that like Celtics. They might be. They might.
That is a blow up.
But like,
and there's talks about Jaylen, and there's talks about Jaylen Brown might be on the trading block too. So
I'm talking about the Eastern Conference though. To me, it's wide open. I feel like, but again, when you're a team like the Knicks, you're pretty much intact. And all these other teams, you know what I'm saying? There's 3 teams have their guys with Achilles who are out next year. The East is wide open. The Knicks, y'all better make a run. But I do think Philly's gonna come back. But what are your thoughts on like the Eastern Conference?
Philly is.
How it's shaping up to look for next season with all these players out, on these teams, major players out. If you're Philly, if you're Cleveland, if you're New York, I think Orlando might make a Pacers type run how they did this year. I think Orlando could be that new team. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Detroit, bruh.
Anybody talking about the Pistons?
I don't know.
Ain't nobody talking about the Pistons.
So what's your thoughts on the East? You know what I'm saying? With Celtics, you know what I'm saying?
East is open. East is wide open. It's open. It's open. You know, so I feel like anybody can go ahead and walk in that door at this point.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. East is pretty. I think it's pretty much the top. The Clevelands, the New Yorks. I mean, you can never count on Milwaukee there.
I wonder what they're going to do about their point guard situation with Dame being out the whole year.
Toronto with the additions that
you talking about the Bucks?
Yeah, because they need a point guard now too.
Hey, the Bucks need to go ahead and just blow that up, man. Get rid of Chris Middleton.
Or not, Chris Middleton's already gone.
But get rid of
that's blow up. Like,
because get rid of Bobby Portis. I mean, not Middleton, but Bobby Portis. Go ahead and let him see what you might go ahead and get in the trade market for him. You're already on the brink of possibly trading Giannis.
And I think they already hit that second apron to where you can't sign like. Those aprons are crazy when you look at it. It's like, okay, once you hit a certain apron, you can't serve certain players. You can't have certain contracts. Like that is pretty much to prevent like the big threes and the super teams forming. You know what I'm saying? That's why they create those aprons. And I think they're already over. I think they're over the second apron. I could be wrong between Dame and Giannis, but I think that's blow up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I feel like I mean you're not going. I mean you're not going nowhere. Even though the East is wide open, and it feels like anybody from out East can probably go ahead and get in there and make a deep playoff run and possibly run to the finals. If you're Milwaukee, it's like, why would you want to go ahead and run it back? Yeah. It's like we might as well start over. We got our championship that Giannis brought to us. We're going to go ahead and do you a favor by going and get you to a team that might be able to go ahead and compete again. Because right now, I don't see them competing in the next 3 or 4 years. I just don't see it. Unless they get lucky and get some trades or some dope, picks. But I just don't see them going nowhere fast.
Yeah. Nah, so Summer League is next week, right? Don't they get right to it after the draft? I think Summer League.
Couple weeks.
Flag probably gonna play like a game or two, then they're gonna send him down. You know how they do with the number 1 picks. But I'm sure he's gonna play, just for TV ratings for that week. At least one game. Then we'll probably hope. Yeah. I'm anxious to see how these these Kings rookies look. Dylan Harper, like I kind of want to see some of these guys, man. Every year we see somebody in the summer league that kind of like, oh, you know what I'm saying. So I'm interested to see who that guy is gonna be. We're gonna be
Max, man, averaged 20, 10, and 1 assist, bro, in his last season at Arizona or at Stanford. So I'm kind of curious to see. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what
rebounds. I like them rebounds. That's what I'm saying. If you could be like that Chet type dude, because Chet and Hartenstein started together, why can't him and Sabonis, be interchangeable? Yeah. Why not?
Definitely.
We'll see though.
So I see here from what I'm looking up, the 2025 NBA Summer League starts July 10th through 20th in Las Vegas.
Okay, so the week after next. Okay.
So I might actually be out there, so I might have to go ahead and try to figure out how I can get up there.
Go. You ain't going.
Well, I got to go ahead and make some runs out there anyway.
Okay,
so,
okay. Yeah, for sure. But not yet. Hey, we're gonna get back at y'all. Definitely gonna come back. We have a lot of good summer content lined up. So we're gonna be hitting y'all with that. We're gonna be talking about summer league. Free agency starts, I believe, July 6th.
Monday. I thought it was Monday, wasn't it?
I believe it's the 6th. But yeah, so that's coming. We're gonna be talking about that. Trades are going to be happening. I do think there's going to be a lot more movement. Teams are not done just with the draft. And we've had a couple of little trades here and there, but nothing crazy. We had Durant, that's a big move. We had CJ McCollum. I think Mark Williams from Charlotte went over to Phoenix. So we've had a couple things like that happen, but I think there's going to be a lot more movement. So we're going to be back talking about that. And like I said, we got some summer content coming for y'all, kind of fill in the time in between, summer league and, the next season. So we're going to be at y'all weekly, hitting y'all with the content.
Hey, June 30th, man.
Yeah. No,
Monday,
sure.
June 30th.
What?
Free agency.
No, it's not.
Monday.
It's the 6th. Trust me. It's the 6th.
No, the 30th. Hey, I just looked it up.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's July 6th.
They just, let's see.
You got me doing my ending.
Yeah, it says right here. It says NBA free agency officially begins on June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Players can sign contracts beginning on July 6th.
Yeah, so they can commit.
Yeah,
they can commit.
But as far as signings, that's not happening to July 6th. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, it begins on June 30th, but like the signing doesn't start to July 6th. So we were both correct.
Right.
But yeah, so we're gonna get back at y'all. All that no ram. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the topics today. Let us know what you think about the Kings draft picks. That's the main thing I want to know what y'all think. And we up out of here, man. Peace.